3 years later, 30,000 miles. My Camaro still look good. The only question is it an asset or is it a liability?
Assets versus liabilities. In our earlier clip, we asked, was my car an asset or a liability? But before we dive into that, we're going to break down what an asset is and what a liability is. And I'm going to give everybody examples of assets and liabilities so anybody watching this video can understand it and pick up what we're talking about. Okay, an asset is anything that brings money in or anything that you own that you can sell and get cash for. A liability is whatever you possess or you own that you owe money for and that's taking money out of your pocket. That's a liability. Asset, money coming in. Liability, money going out. Okay, let's talk about some assets. Assets, cash in the bank. Whatever money that you have on hand that you got in your checking or your saving or even a retirement plan. That's an asset. Investments, anything that you have your money invested in that's bringing you a return on those investments, that's an asset. Stocks and bonds. Stocks and bonds are what we call liquid asset because it ain't the same thing as you going into the bank and be able to get cash for it, but you can easily sell those stocks or cash in on those stocks and bonds and you will get cash for it. Property. If you own real estate land, or if you own houses, or if you own apartments that you rent out, or retail space that you rent out and is bringing you money for it, that's an asset. If you got a piece of land that maybe somebody renting out to do an event, or somebody else got a business on top of the land that you own, that's an asset. Jewelry. Jewelry really don't lose its value. The prices of precious metals go up and down each year, and your chain might be worth more money this year than it was that year, but you can always sell that jewelry and get money for it. So that's an asset. Artwork. Artwork is an asset because you can have a picture today that's worth $1 million, and then 2 or 3 years later, the price of it may be worth $3 to $4 million. So artwork is a major asset. Collectibles, things like baseball cards. Just think about it. Like if you had Pete Rose rookie card, it's probably worth hundreds and thousands or millions of dollars right now. So things like that, that's in a high demand that you can always sell and get cash for, is an asset. Own cars. Okay, if you own your car, it is yours and you don't owe no money on it, that's an asset because you can sell it at any time and convert that into cash. Inventory. If you running a small business or you doing something outside of your house and you got stuff that you can sell to get cash, that's an asset. All right, let's talk about some liabilities. Liabilities is what would keep most of us in the middle class. I mean, everybody has liabilities, and it seems like the more money we make, the more liabilities we get because a lot of us ain't trained financially like we should be. Okay, liabilities, credit card debt. The minute you buy something with a credit card, you already said that you willing to pay more for that, whatever it is, and you're gonna get a monthly bill for that until it's paid off, and that monthly bill is gonna come with an interest. So that's a high liability because sometimes we just go on a credit card frenzy and swipe, and we may only spend $500, but have to pay $800 back just for that $500 we spent. Bills. There ain't a single person out there watching this video ain't gonna have bills to pay. That's a liability I don't think none of us can get past. I mean, or unless you staying with somebody and you staying rent free and they just letting you be a bum on their couch, I guess you might not have that liability. Mortgage. Mortgage is one of those liabilities that we might not look at as a liability. And we might think that our house is an asset. But if we got to pay mortgage, the only person that's an asset to is the bank because they the only ones that's going to make money off of it for the next 30 years. Loans. A lot of us have loans out, and those loans can be student loans, they can be payday loans, they can be personal loans. But loans is the same thing almost with credit card. The minute we take that loan, we accepting the fact that we're gonna pay money on top of that, until we paid everything back. Lines of credit are another one that's a high liability. I mean, lines of credit, they could be Rent-A-Center, they can be errands, that could be somebody financing a TV for you at Best Buy, or you get financed for furniture at Sofa Express or anywhere you go. But lines of credit keep a lot of us strapped under the liabilities, because what we do when we make more money, we just get more liabilities, and we might not even be knowing it. We just trained that way, and that's what keep a lot of us down. So to answer the question, is my car a liability or is it an asset? I'm in a point now to where it's an asset, but the first 3 years I owned it, it was a liability, because what I owned on the car versus what the car was worth, it depreciated as soon as I left the lot. So the car was worth $32,000, but they charged, the blue book when I first got it was $32,000. But with the interest rate on it, that came out to like $40,000. And so me paying over the years, finally, after 3.5 years, it's finally worth more than what I owe on it. So right now it's worth still roughly almost $20,000, and I owe on it roughly almost $14,000. So right now it's an asset because I can sell it and I can get more money back. But for the first 3.5 years, it was a liability. But one thing I want y'all to know is now I wouldn't put myself in that liability section like I did 3.5 years ago. Now I will not take on a car note that roughly cost me almost $800 a month, because that's a major liability. There's so much other stuff I could have did with that money, but now I'm into the point to where that I'm almost paid this car off, that I'm just gonna go ahead and see the thing through the end. And over like the last 10 years, usually at this point is when I'll be thinking, okay, 3-4 years, it's time for a new car. And then I would just trade that car in and just say, forget what I owed on it and just get in a new car. And just repeating that cycle over and over and over and over that kept me stuck in the liability section. So hopefully y'all learned something today, and try to stay out of the liability section and try to get more of the assets. More of the assets. When you get more assets and you stay in this category longer, it becomes easier for you to manage your liabilities, because when you got assets, that's your money working for itself. And if you hold on to your assets for a while, they will produce enough revenue for you to just buy your liabilities straight out to where they ain't such bad liabilities. And the better you manage your liabilities, the better off your pocket's gonna be. And there's tons of books out there that you can read. A couple good ones that I would recommend would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Latte Factor.